tonight is it's still raining in the same locations over and over again. Down around Edison, by the way, 10 inches of rain falling for us there. It's just been so tough for us tonight. But when you see all this rain coming through, and there's lightning in there too, Colleen, obviously what that tells us is we've got big, tall thunderstorms tonight. And the big, tall thunderstorms are the ones that produce the highest rainfall rates.
Yeah, and Mike, you were just highlighting Lambertville, where we're getting upwards of 10 inches of rain. I actually have one of the residents on the phone right now. Actually, the woman that took the photo, that's her kitchen that we're looking at. Unfortunately, that has been flooded for tonight as these storms are rolling through. So joining us on the phone, want to introduce you to Pearl Gable. And Pearl, thank you so much for taking the time to join us tonight. Wow, a wild night in Lambertville, New Jersey. To give some folks some perspective, that's on the Delaware River. And you saw the water rise in your own home in just a course of an hour. Can you walk us through what was going through your mind right then?
Sure. It was totally wild. It was completely unexpected. I thought the floods had hit one part of town and it was finished, and then all of a sudden we looked outside and it was like a current coming down the street. We're kind of boxed between, we have the Delaware River, we have the Raritan Canal, we have another stream, so it was like everything was coming at once. And it happened really quickly. Probably got up to, I wouldn't say like 3 or 4 feet at least on the outside. Our whole basement flooded up, and then it started flooding up into the first floor. We had a family, neighbors. We saw them sort of running down the street in the flood. They had a ranch, sort of one-story home, so they got completely flooded out. The kids were hysterical. So we've all been kind of hunkering down in our second floor, waiting for this to pass.
Have you called Lambertville home for a long time?
Just a few years. But from what I understand from neighbors, there's nothing like this has happened since 1955.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you, if you had seen something like this, because right now as you're talking, we're looking at video just from the not just from the ground level, but also the additional video from the second floor of those roads that were just turned into rivers, and then of course the photo that you sent of your kitchen. Is everyone safe, Pearl?
Everyone's safe. The water has receded more or less. And we're just left with the aftermath right now. I just hope that nobody was hurt or worse in town.
And going through this firsthand in Lambertville, do you have anything to say to folks that may be watching right now and say, hey, it's raining outside, no big deal, but it is a huge deal tonight. Do you have anything you'd want to tell them?
I mean, I think we can see from like the past days, months, years that these unexpected weather events could happen at any time. I mean, you always wish I wish that we had taken this more seriously. Maybe I wish we had sort of gotten out of Dodge. But I mean, I think it's important to take these warnings seriously now, because these events are more frequent than ever.
Certainly. Pearl Gable, thank you so much for joining us. Stay safe. We're going to be thinking about you and your family as well as your neighbors, as it's going to be a road to recovery for areas of New Jersey as well as into New York. And thank you for the videos, the photos. When it's safe to do so, it's compelling. It helps show everyone what's going on in these neighborhoods and to take these warnings seriously. And speaking of warnings, we have a chain of them, like a bracelet, going up through parts of Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York. Mike, it's just not something that we see at all. I mean, usually not even a chain of this, let alone we're talking about flash flood emergency.
What's going on here? Bergen, Essex, and Passaic counties. That'll include Newark, where they have evacuated the control tower there at the airport. That tells you how bad it's getting for us here. Our flash flood emergency in this location goes until 11:45 for us tonight. We have a flash flood emergency right in Manhattan, in Bronx, in Queens tonight. That goes until 11:30 tonight. Still raining very hard right now, with rainfall rates somewhere around 2 to 3 inches per hour at this point. And I want to, kind of give you a little bit of back history. And it's not a lot of back history. You only have to go back a week. Remember, we had Henri that came in, and in some of these places it produced really heavy rain and flash flooding. This is eclipsing that by a lot. It is double, triple, quadruple what some places saw during a tropical storm Henri. So this is life-threatening stuff for us tonight. Again, right through Newark and New York, really heavy rain at this point, especially right in New York, and it's headed right up into the White Plains area, New Rochelle for us tonight, right here in extreme western Long Island. We're getting hit really hard tonight. Worried about what's going on for you in Queens and the Bronx, Brooklyn. We're going to have issues tonight, and it's going to head farther north here. And look at now the rain. I call it moderate rain in a place like Hartford for us tonight, and so Hartford is under a flash flood warning, but no reason to think that we may not also go under a flash flood emergency. I see a blinking purple on there, and a new flash flood emergency has now been issued in the tri-state area. So I'm going to see if I can get that to initiate for us here. I'm going to get Adam Dean, our weather producer, is going to do. But Fairfield, Rockland, Westchester counties have now been issued a severe thunderstorm warning. So White Plains is in that. And then the storm headed up through Danbury and Bridgeport and Greenwich, New Haven. Fairfield, New Haven, and Westchester counties are now under a flash flood emergency. So now the warnings are starting to extend farther north up into Connecticut now. So catastrophic flooding is anticipated in these locations as well. So truly just about every county from Philadelphia up to New Haven, Connecticut is under a flash flood emergency. I believe that makes it 7 in a row now. Flash flood emergencies, unheard of. I have never seen anything quite like this before. What we're talking about are the remnants of Hurricane Ida kind of combining with a warm front here, producing an epic rainfall event for us tonight. Some of the rain that we're getting here over the last, say, 6 hours or so is equivalent to the rain that we saw at landfall in Louisiana. If that tells you anything, you just can't get these extreme rainfall rates in a normal, everyday summertime thunderstorm. Something extreme has to come together. In this instance, it is the remnants of a hurricane combining with the front to create, in essence, a perfect storm. Look at the mileage. Great job there, Adam Dean. Adam is our weather producer tonight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different flash flood emergencies covering a consecutive span of 190 miles tonight from Philadelphia to New Haven, Connecticut. I think eventually Hartford, you're going to be included in that as well. Look at the rainfall in the past 6 hours. The radar tells the story. Such extreme amounts of rain here that it's life-threatening flooding. We just talked to a woman there in Lambertville, New Jersey. She'd never seen rain like this before. Came up 3 to 4 feet, water in her home, water in her kitchen. Look at some of these totals. There's the picture right there. We just had her on our air, and you cannot imagine the kind of cleanup that the water has receded since. But you cannot imagine that the cleanup that has to take place after an event like this, where you have to get the water out, mold happens, you've got to cut out all your sheetrock and your drywall, replace cabinets, all the furniture that gets wet, it has to be replaced. So the flooding is an overwhelming story for us tonight. However, there have been tornadoes that have touched down today as well, including in Mullica Hill, New Jersey. Second stories of homes have been taken off. Jen Carfago is there for us tonight. Jen, it's been raining hard. The poor folks here have had their homes destroyed. I mean, in an epic night of weather across the South, across the Northeast, and it's not over yet.
Yeah, no, it's not over yet. The rain has still been heavy here. It lightened up just a little bit here for the moment, Mike. But you mentioned all the ingredients coming together. We had, the remnants of a tropical system, a front, and a very strong jet stream overhead. And that's why we've had these multiple spin-ups of tornadoes here, and some of them pretty strong. In fact, take a look at the damage again behind me. And it is beyond actually just the second floor. This particular house, you can see significant damage to the first floor as well. The walls are folded in. There is indeed the second floor still standing on one part of the house, but not on all of the house. And that second floor that you still see, you can see all the outside walls have been compromised. The siding ripped off. Inside walls are leaning. And one thing I wanted to point out about this location, though, you notice that you go down to the ground and you notice that the shrubbery and the bushes are all still there. And it was, when I saw that, it was a reminder to me that the lowest level of your home is always the safest place to be. It really is. Now, to give you a broader view of where I am, and it's in the dark, so I can't go too far, but with the light that we have, I can show you that the house behind this one does have some damage to it. You can see it on the back. The windows are blown out. One window actually was sort of leaning in a bit. But then there is another house beyond that damage to every single one. Because even within a neighborhood, even within one block, one street here, a tornado won't necessarily affect all equally, and that is just the case when it comes to tornado damage. And I want to talk about perhaps how wide this one is. I can get a sense of that too just by standing here, and even in the dark of night. You can see this tree right here has sustained really no damage at all from the tornado. This is on the property. This is a pretty big property of this house that I'm on. I'm estimating that's maybe about an acre in size. This house, significant damage, and while you can't see the house next to it because it's dark, one side of the house does have damage, but the entire structure does not. So that gives you a sense of the size of the tornado we were talking about when it was here at this homestead right here in Mullica Hill. Mike, I'll send it back into you, but certainly, as I stand here tonight, it's a reminder to, heed every tornado warning and go to your safe shelter when they're issued.
And as you mentioned, a lot of homes here have basements. It's a super safe place to be in circumstances like this. Jen, thank you. More from Jen coming up. Severe thunderstorm warnings, flash flood emergencies across the Northeast. We have the latest next.
I'm Morgan, and there's more to me than HIV. More love, more adventure,